Grit. Grit is about being passionate about what you want and moving through a difficult period with a greater objective in mind. That's the definition of grit. It it's quiet. It doesn't mean that you have to prove yourself to anybody, or simply it can be that you are showing up every day with the best version in the best version of yourself. Hi, welcome to Dr. Shahiem Hartley's podcast. My name is Shahiem Hartley. I'm a South African born Canadian family physician, and this show comes to you from Edmonton, Alberta. This show is for you if you are working through a difficult season in your life, whether that be personally, you are going through something within yourself, or with your partner, with your spouse, with your children. It's something personal that you need to move through. This show is for you. It can also be professionally, where you have a difficult boss, you have difficult colleagues, the company is in flux, or you're just not sure about yourself. It's a difficult moment. This is for you. It can also be spiritually, where you feel that there's a disconnect. And lastly, it can be socially. Socially, where you feel alone. You feel that you are in a company that's not going to take you where you need to be. You need to aspire higher. Then the show is for you as well. So like I said, Angela Ducksworth, she has this talk about, the TED talk about grit. It's a fascinating talk, and I agree with her in all aspects of this talk. I highly advise you to have a listen to this talk. But my grit came in a different way. When I came here in 2017, I left Cape Town. Everybody knew me for the most part. I was well set up in my career. I was well set up socially and personally. And so to move to Canada was a big jump. It's massive. When you arrive here, you are set back. And this is not my story. This is every immigrant story. You are set back. You have to learn how to do things in the Canadian way. But specifically now, when it comes to medicine, I had written the evaluation examination called the EE. That's now been removed. It's no longer a criteria, but I wrote it. And then what I want to focus on here is I had to do my practice ready assessment program, or we call it the PRAP. Now, PRAP is where, as an African, you spend time with a Canadian preceptor or a Canadian examiner who has her own clinic. In this case, it was her who has her own clinic. And you spend 3 months with this doctor who then adjudicates you, who then, examines you and see if you fit to practice in South Africa. Now, in South Africa, I'd been working for close on 11 years already. And so I was a seasoned general practitioner in South Africa. And I was assured by a lot of my colleagues that their PrEP went fine. The doctors who assessed them, they were kind, they were professional, they were collegial, and it was going to be a breeze. Unfortunately for me, mine was not. My PrEP was a very, very difficult time. In fact, it was probably one of the most difficult periods of my life. So much so that there was a time when I would consider, is this really going to work for me in terms of medicine in Canada? That's how tough it got. And this is a story that every immigrant can really just resonate with, in terms of, you have those moments when you're away in the initial stages, when you think to yourself, is this really worth it? Is this something I should be doing? In the mornings, I would wake up with a knot in my stomach. I would be driving to work, not sure what to expect. And it was a very difficult period. But that was a period that a difficult season that I had to move through. I had to power through that. And I did. That was in 2017. Looking back now in 2026, I completed that period. I completed my QE1, the qualifying examination 1, which gave me the licensure of the Medicine Council of Canada. And then thankfully, I also qualified and completed my Canadian board exams, my CCFP. So looking back at that period, it was a very difficult, very challenging period for me. But because I was different, that was my superpower. positivity was the first step. And I definitely took many steps of positivity. But you needed to have that grit. So whether you are moving through in a personal, in a professional, in a spiritual, or in a social setting, you need grit. You need that determination to move you through. But you gotta work on and think about the bigger target. That is absolutely critical. And so, with that in mind, I want to talk about this story. It's an analogy I use about the pencil. So it's a granite pencil with polycarbonate outside, and it's a pencil we use every day. So you use the pencil, it does the job you need it to do. When it's sharp, it works well. Your words you write on the paper are crisp, they're clear, but after a while, that pencil becomes blunt. And so it needs to go through a process where you put it into a sharpener, you sharpen it, and then when you remove it, it's sharp again, able to do the work again, able to perform like it used to, if not better. Now think of yourself as that pencil. You've been working hard, you've been doing what you're supposed to, you've been showing up, giving the best version of yourself. But there comes a time in our lives when we need to go through that sharpener. And that sharpener is life. So when it sharpens you, it's not an easy experience. It's a painful experience. If you think about the pencil again, when that pencil goes into the sharpener, you can hear the wood churning and grinding through the metal. And that process is not an easy one. If the pencil could feel pain, it would be incredibly painful. But you can feel the pain. So when life puts you into the sharpener, it's painful. But it's something you have to endure. It's something you have to take one step forward every single day and move through that process. Because the rewards at the end, if you focus on your objective, it's so worth it. When you come out the other side, you are sharper, you are more focused, you are optimized, you are at the next level to do something greater than what you ever hoped for. So in conclusion, I want you to think about the story. And then one last thing about the pencil story is that, like as in life and as in the pencil, it's not what's on the outside that's important, it's what's on the inside. So just remember that when you're going through your difficult season. So in conclusion, I want to remind you that stay focused, stay intentional, and most importantly, stay sharp. Remember, there can only be one version of you, because in the end, there can be only one.